From fighting a steroid-positive Brock Lesnar to owing almost $500,000 in legal fees. This is everything in the build-up to MMA legend Mark Hunt attacking Jon Jones after his UFC 285 win. Let's start with the complicated legacy of UFC fighter Jon Jones. Well, it's no secret that Jones has had his fair share of troubles outside of the octagon. In 2015, Jones was involved in a hit-and-run incident where he crashed his car into a pregnant woman's vehicle and fled the scene. Talk about a bad move. He eventually turned himself into the police, but the damage was already done. But wait, it gets worse. In 2015, Jones reportedly hid under the octagon to avoid being tested by USADA, the anti-doping agency. I mean, come on, Jon. Hiding under the ring? That's a move straight out of a WWE match. Although the test was eventually administered and Jones was cleared to fight, it certainly didn't help his already tarnished reputation. As a result of the hit-and-run incident, Jones was stripped of his light heavyweight championship by the UFC. While many fans and fellow competitors have respect for him as a fighter, his past transgressions have tainted his legacy. And for MMA legend Mark Hunt, Jones's actions make him anything but relatable. In fact, Hunt didn't hold back in his criticism of Jones, taking to social media to call him out for his past behavior. Hunt slammed Jones as a cheating steroid rat who runs into pregnant women and runs off, and referred to him as a rat that hides under the octagon for 10 hours hiding from being tested for drugs. Hunt's post didn't stop there, as he went on to call out the UFC itself for promoting a fighter with such a troubled past. He referred to Jones as a worthless champion and called the company a worthless ripoff with zero credibility. Jon Jones is one of the most polarizing figures in the MMA world, and his legacy will always be tainted by his past drug test failures. However, Jones believes he has been vindicated after he was suspended for over a year and lost a bout against Daniel Cormier due to positive drug tests. He recently took to social media to express his sense of vindication, as he feels he was unfairly labeled as a cheater. Jones explained that the rules have changed since his suspension, with USADA implementing major rules changes regarding threshold levels for certain drugs that could lead to a potential punishment. Under these new thresholds, none of Jones's prior samples would have been flagged as illegal. This means that if these rules had applied at the time, he would have been cleared from every test he had taken. For Jones, this means a lot. He feels grateful to be the athlete who fought the system and who could afford the lawyers and scientists to prove his innocence. Jones believes that if the new rules had applied back then, his win over Daniel Cormier would have been a knockout victory rather than a no contest. It's clear that Jones has a lot of emotions tied up in this situation. He believes that he was unfairly targeted as a cheater and that the new rules vindicate him. It remains to be seen how the MMA community will respond to his claims, but there is no denying that Jones is a fighter who has faced many challenges throughout his career.
Look at the twist on his neck, and Jon's holding him up here.
Whether he can overcome these challenges and cement his legacy as one of the greatest of all time remains to be seen. It's a harsh criticism by Hunt, but one that highlights the complicated relationship between fans, fighters, and the organizations that promote them. While many may admire Jones for his skills in the octagon,
He's trying to pry it up. Jon Jones has defended his UFC.
Hunt's words are a reminder that the legacy of a fighter is about more than just their record or accomplishments. The decisions they make both inside and outside the ring have a lasting impact on their reputation and the sport as a whole. But where did all of Hunt's hatred for the UFC and previous steroid abusers come from, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Imagine this: a heavyweight clash between two of the biggest names in UFC history, Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt, scheduled as the main event of UFC 200. It was a battle that had fans on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting who would come out on top. But the excitement soon turned into controversy as it was revealed that Lesnar had failed drug tests for banned substances. But before his fight, Lesnar wasn't afraid to take a jab at former light heavyweight champion Jon Jones for failing a drug test, which got him booted from his scheduled main event title shot at champion Daniel Cormier. Oh, the irony. It's always best to keep your mouth shut until you're in the clear. The Nevada State Athletic Commission took immediate action and slapped Lesnar with a hefty penalty of $250,000 plus a one-year suspension from the sport. The victory was also changed to a no contest. But the repercussions didn't end there. Hunt filed a lawsuit against the UFC in 2017, claiming that the organization knew about Lesnar's use of banned substances before the fight took place. The Nevada State Athletic Commission wasn't messing around when it handed down a 1-year suspension on top of the fine. This had many wondering if Lesnar would ever step into the octagon again. And to this day, 6 years later, he has never returned. The lawsuit alleged that the UFC had allowed Lesnar to compete despite knowing that he had taken performance-enhancing drugs, thus giving him an unfair advantage over his opponent. The controversy surrounding the fight took a heavy toll on Hunt, who felt cheated out of his chance to compete fairly. The Lesnar-Hunt fight will always be remembered for its controversial ending, but it also brought the issue of performance-enhancing drugs in sports to the forefront. It's a reminder that even in the world of professional athletics, fair play and integrity must always come first. Despite the lawsuit, most of Hunt's claims were unfortunately dismissed by a Nevada court in February 2019. The final charge of breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing was also dismissed in November of the same year. That's not the end of the case, though. It looks like the battle between the UFC and Mark Hunt is far from over. In March 2020, Hunt was hit with another blow when he was ordered to pay the UFC a whopping $388,235 in attorney fees and costs. But wait, there's more. Hunt has filed an appeal against the dismissal of his lawsuit, reigniting his claims of fraud and battery. And get this, the court actually disagreed with the initial judge's findings that fighters consent to facing opponents who may be doping as part of the culture within combat sports. It's a big deal, folks, and we'll be keeping an eye on how this all shakes out. Mark Hunt made a candid admission in a 2019 interview on the MMA Hour.
And Dana White, Brock Lesnar, they all made this deal so they can sell their company.
He said, "I'm done fighting. I think I lost a passion a long time ago when I filed this lawsuit against the UFC. They took the passion away from me, to be honest."
He's trying to finish it here. It's over. It's over. A Super Samoan.
It's understandable that Hunt would feel disillusioned. The New Zealand fighter had a long and illustrious career in the UFC,
Power that Mark Hunt can generate with his punches is something extraordinary.
where he made a name for himself as a fan-favorite slugger with a granite chin. But his rivalry with the UFC management and the controversy surrounding his fight against Lesnar ultimately left him feeling burned out. Despite this setback, Hunt can look back on his career with pride. The Super Samoan fought some of the toughest men in the heavyweight division, including Junior Dos Santos, Fabricio Werdum,
Nice knee. He got him. Verdum trying to finish.
and Stipe Miocic. His powerful striking, iron jaw, and his tough-as-nails mentality made him a fan favorite and a tough challenge for anyone who dared to face him in the cage. While Hunt's career may have ended on a sour note, he can still be proud of his accomplishments and the many unforgettable moments he gave fans throughout his long and storied career.